Okay, so we've done our rectangular prisms. Zoom back out here. We're going to go on to cylinders next. So open your booklet to the next page and write cylinders. Again, this is for printing only, so whatever we make black right now will turn out white later on. So, step 1 is to draw an oval. So this first cylinder, we're going to see the top and the side. So we're just going to draw our oval towards the top of our page. Leave enough room for a shadow over here off to the right. So you don't have to make it huge. Step 2 is 2 straight lines. Two straight lines. So out off of the side here, it goes straight up and down for this first one. And over on this side also, straight up and down. They need to be about the same length, so use your pen to measure about how long it is. This one is a little bit short, I made that a little longer. Step 3 is half of an oval. Okay, so the bottom of a cylinder is not flat. The side has some curve to it. Here's a cylinder, and it has a curve to it right here. So it does not appear to be perfectly flat, even though the bottom may be flat here, but this has a curve to the side. So we need to make it look like it curves on the side. So our half of an oval is actually going to curve down like this. If you wanted to draw the whole oval, you could, but this part would not be seen unless it was like a mug or a cup, a glass cup or something. You would see all the way through. Okay. And step 4 is to shape. So on this one, my light is coming from the above left. Still, we're just going to keep that consistent. So this top needs to be my lightest. So I'm going to shade this in with cross hatching. So I go this way, and then I start crossing it back over this way. Try to get all the way up next to your edges, because your shading should define your form, not your lines, not your outlines. Okay, now we're going to go in the middle, over here towards the left side a little bit, is going to be my lightest area. It doesn't go all the way to the edge though, so I'm going to draw some hatching lines. Now when I draw these hatching lines, I follow the curve of that side of the cylinder. I don't make it a straight line. I kind of curve it to follow this curve right here and this curve right here, and I go all the way from top to bottom. So that would be my lightest spot. Then I'm going to take and start over here, and I'm going to draw some lines that are curved about 3/4 of the way over, and it can go right through that section that I just drew. Kind of spread them out. And that same spacing is going to go over here on the edge. I got to leave a white space because that will later on become black. Okay, so I have this really light space and a black space and just a little bit of some white lines, so that'll be a very light medium or a very dark medium. And then over here, not all the way to the point where that one ended, but I'm going to come in a little bit, and I'm going to add another set of lines between there to kind of get an in-between value. Okay. Zoom in so you can see that a little better. So I have a few lines, a white space. a few lines, a few more lines, a bunch of lines, back to a few less lines. Kind of this side and this side match, and then it goes a few less lines, no lines, and this very few lines. It just kind of flows fairly well there. Add maybe one more there. Okay? Now, my shadow. My shadow is going to come off of here. Now, these edges here are straight, so these are going to come out straight. And then it's going to hit this curve right here. So it's going to curve right along there. Shadow needs to be black, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to color it in. So there's my first cylinder. Next cylinder. This one's going to be laying on its side. So my oval is going to go over here on the side, on the left side of my paper. Oops, sorry, get it in the camera. So it's on the left side of my paper. My two straight lines are going to be horizontal lines this time, so I'm going to measure. My curve for my half of an oval goes this direction, same direction as this one. My light is still coming from the above left. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see this better. Okay, so this side over here is going to be cross hatching. Get that to go all the way to the edge, then cross it the other way. Okay. Then I have the top here, and make sure my curve follows kind of the curve of the edge of that oval. And notice I did not put it all the way at the very top. I came down a little bit. Then I'm going to put a few lines in here, kind of spread them out. Follow that curve of the edge of the half of an oval. Down here I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to leave a white space so that later on it will be black. And then right here, I'm going to go back in. And in between here, I'm going to add one more line, but I don't go all the way to the edge where I was before. And give it some space. Now my shadow is going to come down and across this way for this one. And then about a third of the way up, draw that line, horizontal line, and then this curve creates that curve back there. And there's my shadow. Remember, this is for printing, so right now we don't need to color anything in. Okay, now, the next cylinder, zoom back out here. The next cylinder is going to be where you see the front, and it's going up and to the right a little bit. So, down here, we're going to draw more. It's still going to be kind of an oval, but it's going to be a little more closer to a circle, not quite as flattened out. And I'm going to draw a diagonal line that goes back this way, and another diagonal line that kind of goes up a little bit. And then this back curve, here's my half of an oval back here. So now I'm going to zoom in so we can do our shading. You can see what I'm doing. My light is still coming from the above left. So, not all the way at the very edge, but towards the top is going to be hatching lines that follow that curve, kind of follow that diagonal too. Fairly close together. I'm going to spread my lines out now. Since this is so much smaller, I'm not going to have as much room for my in-between values. Now I'm going to add some lines here. Go back in and get a little more hatching in there for my lightest area because you can't see it much yet. Okay, there we go. Now I've got my lights, my mediums, and my darks in there. The front is going to be kind of a medium, so I'm going to spread my lines out a little bit. And the shadow on this one is going to go across here. And off of this corner back here, it's going to go across. And then this diagonal is actually going to be straight and come down like this, kind of follow this same angle right here. So there's my third cylinder. We have two more cylinders to go. Or sorry, one more cylinder to go. My last cylinder is going to look like it's pointing straight out at me. So I need almost a perfect circle. I don't try and draw my circle all in one smooth line. I do short little curves to try and get that in there. That's what works best for me. Doesn't have to be perfect, but get it close to a circle. Okay, now we're only going to see the top. So over here, it's going to go up and to the right. And over here, it's going to go up and to the left. And they need to be about the same length. And then I'm going to curve it back here for the half of an oval. And now my shadow, shading. So my light is still coming from the above left. So, just similar to this one, so I'm going to have a little area for my lightest over towards the left side. I'm going to spread out my lines for my medium. Don't go all the way to the edge though. Then a little bit over here, so I like to leave that white space. Don't forget to leave that white space. Then I'm going to go in between there to add just a little bit more. So that'll get me my curve for the top. My front is going to be pretty dark. Just a few diagonal lines there. And my shadow, I need a horizontal line off of that corner, a horizontal line off the bottom. This horizontal line needs to be longer because I'm going to make this diagonal here flow out. And there's my shadow. So there are my